would say that for us, it's just kind of going back to that narrative of, it being a constant conversation that's happening within the walls of our church and beyond. We are, safety is a constant conversation piece that comes up in different ways. That it's not just with the volunteers, but also with the parents. And, not the volunteers aren't going to remember everything they received at fall training all the time. So it's really helpful for everyone to just continue to be repetitive in different opportunities. So for example, one of the things the kids love to do is to come into a multi-purpose room after church while the parents are in the narthex with coffee and conversation. And I love that they feel like all the spaces of the church are theirs. But they'll come in, and if I'm in there and there's not another adult, I'm just like, oh gosh, we don't have another adult. Sorry guys, y'all need to head on out. And they've gotten in the habit now of they'll come in, they'll see that I'm the only one in there, and they will go ask their parent to come stand in the room, one of the parents who are trained, and to come and stand in the room so that they are able to be in that space after church while I'm packing things up or finishing some things up. So, I mean, that's just one example, but it's one of those things where as we continue to have those comments and conversations, I had a teacher just the other day who was a teacher last year even, and she was out of the habit, didn't think, and she said, oh, I need to run and grab such and such. I said, you know what, let me grab that for you, because two adults in the room, just kind of gave that reminder. And she's like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. And I said, no problem. This is something that we just kind of share with the adults, and outside of training, but also within training, about how important it is to keep our kiddos safe and our volunteers safe. And this is for everyone. And it makes it the best environment possible to be able to minister to the kids. And everyone gets on board with that. There's no one that says, no, I don't want our kids to be safe. So
that's true.
One way that I sort of handled tried to keep it from being a fear-based response, is that we use some materials that I share sort of as like extra resources. And I've used some of those materials that are very kid-friendly, intended for kids. So two of my favorite ones are God Made All of Me, and then ABCs of Child Safety. And just like having those available for the parents if they want them, helping them sort of see like, we're not doing this because we're scared, and there are really safe ways to present this to your children without scaring them. I think back to like when I grew up and everything was like stranger danger, and then but from like a perspective of wanting to be welcome and loving people and those sorts of things, something about that feels off, right? And so I really appreciate those resources that are geared towards kids, and that are just very important for giving them the language to talk about it, right? Like we emphasize, like, we don't keep secrets, like if an adult says to you, like, oh, can you like keep the secret? I'm going to tell you this thing that's just for you. Like I've heard the kids in our program being like, oh, like we don't keep secrets here. And I just feel so proud of them. But it's like a natural response for them. And so I think that takes away a lot of the fear around it when kids are good at advocating for themselves, but not in a way that they're scared. Just like, like, oh, something we do. And I mean, I also like that because my bent tends to be towards children geared materials anyway. And they're usually so user friendly that I think it's just helpful to change the tone of the conversation.
One thing that we've really done is provided childcare in safe, vetted environments for things such as our life groups and for different programming that we have, because of our value of safety for kids. And if adults have to meet in homes. That's not always the safest environment for a kid. So there's some practical things that we can provide as the church to ensure safety of our kids, not because we're afraid, but just because we know best practices, we know safe environments. And I think as children's ministry directors, we need to look around and be the eyes and ears. So for me, that means staying at kind of that high level, that helicopter view, so that I can see all the spaces and look at them with fresh eyes on a regular basis. We just revamped and remodeled our student area so that every door in the entire area has a big window in it, just to ensure that child safety. We've just propped the doors open and left them open, but we've just eliminated even the possibility of having an unsafe environment. So I think, as ministry directors, keeping that high view, elevating the safety of kids to a priority in every program that we run. And, as a church, it's taken tons of resources and energy to provide childcare for our life groups, but the value of kids is so high in our mind that we just think it's important. And so I think structuring your programming around safety for kids is really key.